What's up, everybody? It's Pope Taint IV, the holiest man on the internet, with a semi-dirty username. I'm bringing you a deck profile for one of my favorite decks to play, the Amorphages. Now, I really like the Amorphages because they're the deck that just says, no, you can't do anything. And that really works well for me because a lot of people hate it when you play Amorphages, and for people who know a bit about me, I'm a bit of a cynical asshole, a sarcastic douchebag, a passive-aggressive nutsack, if you will. So this deck kind of works good for me, and I really like it because I have this nasty little habit of not knowing at all what other people's cards do. And with this deck, since it just says no, you can't do anything, I don't have to learn. So without further ado, let's get to the cards. Now, we're starting this off with the non-Amorphage cards, non-Amorphage monster cards, I should say. We got Master Pendulum the Draco Slayer, Vector Pendulum the Draco Overlord, Rector Pendulum the Draco Overlord, and Masterpiece the True Draco Slayer. Now, this is your basic little Draco Slayer Draco Overlord engine. It goes into the Draco Slayer Draco Overlord archetypes. Runs pretty well, speeds things up in a pinch, you know. I don't really feel like explaining it too deeply because I personally don't really know all the minutiae that goes within plays involving these cards. And with the Amorphage cards, we just have 3 of every Amorphage card. Pretty self-explanatory. 2 Amorphous Personas, 2 Amorphactor Pains, a Clash of Draco Rivals, and 4 to the True Dracos. That just goes into that Draco Overlord engine. And this thing I only run him at 2 and this at 2 because you know, he's really awesome if you can get him out, but he's kind of a pain in the ass to get out, so you don't really want him out very often. But I have gotten him out before, and it's pretty funny when you tell somebody that they have to skip their next main phase 1. So I'm just going to go through what all these guys do. They all have the same monster effect. If they're Pendulum Summoned or Flip Face Up, then neither player can special summon from the extra deck except for Amorphage monsters. And they've each got their own unique pendulum effects. Well, they all got one in common. During the standby phase, you either tribute a monster or destroy this card, which kind of sucks, but you know, it helps you get some plays off sometimes. But they each have their own unique lockdown shit in the pendulum zone. Amorphage Goliath, any card that would be sent to the graveyard except for Amorphage cards is banished instead. Amorphage Sloth, nobody can add from deck to hand except for Amorphage. Amorphage Pride, nobody takes any effect damage. Amorphage Wrath, nobody can tribute except for Amorphage monsters. Amorphage Envy, nobody can activate cards Chain Link 2 or higher. Amorphage Greed, nobody can activate traps except for Amorphage. Amorphage Lechery, nobody can activate spells except for Amorphage. And Amorphage Gluttony, nobody can activate monster effects except for Amorphage. And Amorphactor, he skips main phase 1, and Fusion, XYZ, and Synchro Monsters effects are negated. So yeah, that's the entire deck. Let's get into some replay. Alright, now this guy I almost feel bad for. I could go first. I get this pretty sweet hand, and he's running a deck that relies pretty heavily on going to the graveyard, and I'm just about to send everything to the banish zone instead. So I put down a Goliath, I put down a Wrath, he can't tribute, everything's sent to the banish zone. I Pendulum summon a bunch of shit. He can't summon from the extra deck, and this guy is basically just a normal monster. And I've also got that sweet infection beast up my defense, right? So he draws, whatnot, you know how the game works. Slaps down his toy vendor, discards a card, tries to summon to the graveyard, he wanted to special summon, didn't work, so he was forced to forfeit. Yeah, I really kind of feel bad for how hard I spanked that guy there, but you know, that's just the nature of the game. Alright, so now we got this Seto Kaiba wannabe fuckboy, right? So he's running these blue eyes and whatnot. I'm going first with my Morphage's trusty little Be a Dick lockdown deck. Alright, I don't have a very good hand, so all I can do really is put down those 2 spells and normal summon a Wrath. And I've got these 2 things sitting dead in my hand, right? And I'm getting prepared to get pounded pretty hard this next turn. I'm not expecting this duel to go very well for me. He Paw Desires, right? So I figure, alright, he's probably got some trick up his sleeve. Nobody does that unless they have some sort of plan with it. And then I chain my little thing, he twin twisters, I'm like, alright, it's all over. And he proceeds to wipe out my back row. And then he makes a very strategic move after this. He actually forfeits the duel. So yeah, wasn't expecting that. So fuck me, I guess. He caught me off guard. Now, since we are dueling a match, right, we side decked a bit. I had nothing to put in because I'm not a very strategic person. And he elects to go first because that's probably for the best, so I don't get a chance to do some sick lockdown shenanigans. So I draw into a greed, like, alright, that's great, I can lock down traps. So I put down two licenses, put a greed in Amorphous Persona. He decides, alright, I'm max C because he's going to Pendulum Summon. But I throw him for a curveball and say, haha, I'm going to normal summon instead. He doesn't get that draw. And then I hit him for a whopping 2050 damage. And then, yeah, his move, right? I'm like, alright, this probably isn't gonna go very good for me. You know, it usually doesn't. But I'm hoping it'll go well. He pawn desires again, like, oh crap, he's probably got something. So I activate both my Amorphage licenses, just preparing for the worst. I figure he's probably got something to shut me down completely and utterly. So the chain goes off, he gets his draws, and he forfeits the duel again. Very strategic move, wasn't expecting it. Really, I don't know how he doesn't top all tournaments like this. I mean, if you were dueling somebody and they just forfeited the duel pretty quickly like that, that would catch me pretty far off guard, and I wouldn't want to duel him in the future. That would just intimidate me too much, really. Alright, so this time I'm up against a Light Sworn matchup. Now, I'm going first, you know, as I want. Probably preferable for me to go first, as I'm going to get my sweet lockdowns down. I'm about to lock him out of, I think, monster effects, yeah. I'm going to prevent him from adding deck to hand. I have no idea what he's running, so this is probably the best option for me. And I slap down a Pendulum, so now he can't go into that sweet, sweet extra deck I know he wants to go into. And so now it goes to his turn, and my computer's pretty slow, so this takes a bit of time. I've also got this face down Amorphous Lysis. And he goes in and he's going to start doing some Light Sworn stuff. Now, I have no idea what Light Sworns do, so all this stuff happening is pretty scary for me. He goes for Foolish Burial, he's just loading up that graveyard, which is a bit concerning for me, as I've been told by people that Light Sworns do like the graveyard. And then he ends, alright, my turn. Now I draw. This is like an anime duel, everything's taking forever. I activate my Amorphage Lysis. Chain that trap card. And I have to tribute someone for maintain my pendulum scale. I let that one die, and he starts doing some stuff. Now that scared me a bit because I figured, okay, I'm surely about to perish right here. I was too lazy to read that effect before I went and did my stuff. I used the Lysis effect to put another thing in there, but it's still a standby phase, so I have to destroy it. But that just put another thing in my extra deck that I could pendulum summon out. So I pendulum summon back out my pride and my envy, so his monster shrinks by a bit, and he decides, oh, I don't want any of that, so he just forfeits the duel. So yeah, this is pretty much a be a dick deck. Forfeits are a pretty common theme. Now I could not have asked for a better start for this duel. Now he's going first, he's doing all his shenanigans. I don't know what his deck does, and frankly, I don't have to give a shit. So I'd get my draw. I've got a Lechery. That's going to lock down spell cards. I've got two Greeds. They're going to lock down trap cards. And I've got something to Pendulum Summon for him. Now he puts down a Vanities, which is a little concerning for me. It means I can't special summon. But I don't give a shit about that. I'm just going to slap down a Vector into my battle phase. Knock that thing down. Do a 650 damage for him. That gets rid of his Vanities. I'm going to Pendulum Summon some shit. Right? Slap my Wrath and my Greed down. That locks him out of his extra deck, locks him out of trap cards, locks him out of spell cards. There's not a whole lot he can do. So he draws, and I don't know what his deck does, and frankly, I don't have to care. So he just goes and sets a card, that's the only thing he can do, and then it becomes my turn. And draw phase. Draw sweet Amorphous Lysis. Alright, I've got another one down there for insurance. I'm gonna maintain my scales, let everything die right before I just pendulum summon everything back out, like so. Get that greed. I can't get that out because even I can't summon from the extra deck, which is the main drawback of this deck. So then I'm gonna slap that and Lysis bumped its 2000 defense down to below 1650, and his turn, and he draws another spell that he can't use, so next logical step for him is to forfeit the duel. Yep, and the theme continues. It's a pretty recurring theme I've found in my years of research with this deck. Alright, this duel is the absolute magnum opus of just fuck you, stally, grindy decks. I'm running my Amorphages and he's running some bullshit Exodia shit. And so I'm gonna set my scales, Pendulum Summon some shit out. I've got this Forge of the True Dracos in my hand, which is can't really use with the current setup I have in my hand and on the field right now. So that one's gonna have to wait. And he's gonna go through this shit, right? He's gonna set all three of those cards, all those trap cards and whatnot. He's gonna sit on that Battle Fader and that Maxi. He just drew into Exodia the Forbidden One. This is all unbeknownst to me at the time, so to me it just seems like a regular duel, like alright, he's just gonna forfeit after I blocked him out of everything. But that's not the case. So he's got a pretty scary looking back row. I've got to destroy shit to maintain my pendulum scales, which is little depressing to me. I'm gonna pendulum zone a bunch of shit back out, get my pride, get my envy back out, and yeah, this duel's gonna go on for a little bit of time. So past the time, I'm gonna open up some fun dip. Hope you guys don't mind. Yeah. So he does that Exiled Flame. He's gonna send a Forbidden One to the graveyard, send a card back to my hand. That's a recurring theme in this duel. You'll find he does that a lot. Whether or not he uses it to full effect like he could have, that's up for you guys to decide. It was good fun dip. So I'm gonna tribute to keep that scale alive. I'm gonna let that one die because I'm gonna put a better one up there. Get that pride there, right? So no player take effect damage. Actually, I don't know why I put that one up there. I couldn't tell you. I think I remember why, because this one's a level 2. I couldn't have pendulum zone out there. I just wanted to swarm the field a little more. So he's gonna Exiled Flame, send that back to hand. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna roll something right back down. That's right, I'm an asshole like that. Gonna get that infection, flip some of that. That's 5 Amorphages on the field. How much attack is that for each of them? That's 100 for each. Oh wait, shit, there's 6. Never mind, from all 6 of them. So he's gonna Whoopboku the little bitch, so I can't attack this turn. Another turn of stalemate. He can't really do a whole lot of anything, so he ends. Now I draw. Or, oh shit, I wasn't paying attention, I was eating my fun dip. It's actually his turn. He's gonna Exiled Flame, send some shit back to my hand, like a little bitch. Shuffle his deck, his virtual cards. Now it's my turn. Now this is where I'm gonna make some shit happen. I'm gonna draw into that Amorphage Lechery. It's great news for me. That means I can let that scale die. I can Amorphage Infection, bring out my Goliath. Now, I was originally going to use my Lechery to lock him out of spells, but I'll get that Goliath so that anytime he's going to send a Forbidden One, it's going to be banished instead, because I'm a master strategist like that. So I'm going to enter my battle phase. I'm going to slap as a measly 400 defense and my whopping 700 attack, and I'm going to start delivering the damage, and then he slaps out a Battle Fader. At this point, I'm thinking, well, god fucking damn it. The duel continues. So, the duel shifts back to his control. He's going to draw, and he's going to try to make some stuff happen. Now, after I found out he was playing Exodia, I was getting pretty worried. He was just doing a bunch of shit that I didn't know what was happening. I don't know what he's doing. He's got 2 Reckless Greeds. Like, oh crap, this is where he's going off. I was way too lazy to read the card effects, so I was just watching him do a bunch of shit. And he one day appeased, right? So I can't do any damage to him for the time being. But fret not. Now it's my turn. I'm going to draw. Get that sweet Amorphous Persona. I mean, I can. I don't think I ever ended up putting that down, actually. I think I just let that one sit in my hand for a while. I couldn't really tell you why. So I let my scale die so I can lock him out of trap cards. I'm getting tired of all these traps, but he uses a Jar Greed because chains it on the summon. And timing's a bitch sometimes in this game. Gets that epic draw, draws into a Twin Twister. I'm gonna pendulum summon a bunch of shit back out. Give me that pride back. Give me that envy back. Now my monsters have grown quite substantially because of my infection. I'm gonna slap his measly 0 with that, and I forgot about 1 day apiece, so I tried to make a direct attack anyway, to no effect. Now it's back to his turn. He's gonna start pulling some shenanigans, I'm sure. He's gonna Twin Twister, which is pretty unfortunate for myself, because as a pendulum-based deck, you kind of want your scales. You don't want to get blown up all at once. He's gonna Exiled Flame, send my pride back to my hand. Yeah, so that kind of fucked me up, but fret not, for I always have something up my sleeve. I'll draw into that sweet lechery, and I'm gonna pendulum summon some shit back out. I would set my scales, pendulum summon another thing. Now he can't use spells, and nobody takes effect damage. He's gonna Exiled Flame, send something back to my hand, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna normal summon that back. Now I can start dealing some massive ass damage. So I swapped him with 700, and he Swift Scarecrows and ends the battle phase, which was kind of put a damper in my mood. Now back to his turn. The duel continues. In his main phase, he's gonna flip over that trap card, Reckless Greed. He's gonna, put some more stuff down. He's got somehow wind up with a Max C in his hand. Okay, that's what that does. Huh. I never read that card until now. I keep my scales alive, and I get an ad off of Amorphage Infection. He's gonna Jar of Avarice. Now that one really scared me because a bunch of stuff happened, and I'd never really read Jar of Avarice, so he was just shuffling through his graveyard, and I was very, oh shit, how much of Exiliate has happened there? He's gonna win the duel right here, but thankfully he doesn't. He just puts some stuff back into his deck and draws a card. And meanwhile, I'm over here with all sorts of super dope shit in my hand. So I'm going to let that scale die. I'm going to slap down my Amorphage Greed. Now he can't use spells or traps, so he's going to put down Maxi. And Exiled Flame, he's going to try to, send something back to my hand. But guess where it's going? Just right back to my hand. And one nifty thing I can do with level 4 monsters in my hand is I can normal summon them, or, I could pendulum summon them. Which is what I end up doing, as it only counts as one special summon, so only gets one draw off of that. And this is when it all comes to culmination. I slap him for some massive damage, and then he battle fades. And at this point, I'm raging pretty hard. Back to his turn for the nth time. I've lost count at this point. So he's doing some stuff that I don't pay much attention to because he can't really do anything because I just kind of said no. So favor turns back to my end, and I decide to do stuff. I draw my cards. Another Amorphous Persona. I've got a handful of spells that I can't activate because none of them are Amorphage. Get a nice little ad off of my Amorphage Infection. I let that one die. And I'm getting tired of monster effects, so I Gluttony. And then pendulum summon some shit back out. And this is when I just go all ham on him. I slap him for 700, obliterate his Battle Fader, and then I just annihilate him, hit him with a 2450, an 1850. This is like the final stretch of a tough football game that's just been going on into overtime, and I just faked a punt and passed it down the field for a touchdown. And finally, the duel is over, and the dickhole deck has prevailed in this day. Eat shit, Exodia, you ain't obliterating nothing. Fucking take your ass back to the Shadow Realm where you belong.